We are glad you are here with us here. We begin another week's worth of programming on Longshore and McKnight. I am Barry McKnight. I am here in Omaha, Nebraska, and a couple of things to clear up before we move on. Yes, I am in the Troy Team Hotel right now, where it's been nuts for about 4 days. Number two, John did not all of a sudden get smarter and better looking. He is on
loses hair
vacation
and loses
all
hair.
week. Yeah, he in for him this week. Warren Matthews is going to join us. John is out here. Appreciate you jumping in on this thing, man. I'm telling you, Warren, this has been nuts over here where I am. I hope you're doing well,
Guys. Look at Barry. It's Christmas every day. That smile, oh my God. I guess they call it a shit-eating grin. I mean, it's going from ear to ear. All I can say is, thank God. All right, I'm going to ask you a hypothetical, Barry. Say things had not gone well yesterday. What were the travel plans?
We were coming back last night. If things had not
you
gone
have
well,
a plane. You have a plane ready to go. The NCAA has you has a charter or whatever it is, and you're back in Pike County at 10 o'clock, 11 o'clock at night, or whatever it is.
Definitely by midnight. Yeah, of course. But it did go Troy's way. They did beat Ole Miss yesterday, 12-8, to move on in the College World Series. It's Troy's very first College World Series win ever. They play again in another elimination game tomorrow at 1 o'clock. And there's of course, we were fortunate enough to be in the NCAA men's basketball tournament as well, which is run a lot the same way. They have a group of planes that they have reserved, the NCAA does. And when Troy played in the basketball tournament in Oklahoma City and fell to Nebraska, I mean, we went back to the hotel, packed up, went to the airport, boom, it was right there. We were home in an hour and a half. So it's the same way here, and we hope it doesn't happen for a good long time.
So you get the smoked almonds on the way out, and then it's just like Chex Mix on the way home.
That's exactly right.
It's a little different. You may have a different plane coming back.
Thanks for playing. Appreciate it. Yes, all that stuff already.
Barry, set the stage. I mean, I'm fascinated about all this and everything. Kind of take us like your experience. I want to hear what it's been like for you for this event and just in general, because, people may not realize, people do realize this is a big damn deal. It's in the sports world, and your involvement with a team and your team's playing for a national championship at the highest level. This is as good as it gets right now.
It's as good as I've had it, that's for sure.
Take us through that.
Well, it all really began for Troy, back in Montgomery, as a matter of fact, in the Sun Belt tournament. Troy, on Sunday, the 24th of May, which is a little bit more than 3 weeks ago, Troy lost to Southern Miss and lost in Montgomery and was knocked out of the Sun Belt tournament after winning 2 games the day before.
All right, so hold on a second. I had somebody on one of the networks said that, all right, y'all lost on a walk-off to Southern Miss, right? Like a tragic walk-off.
We did that. That happened on the 22nd. We lost to Southern Miss on a 2-out, 2-strike walk-off grand slam. Troy was a strike away from winning by 3, and 1 pitch later, grand slam, and we lose by 1. That was on May 22nd.
But you got more games because you went to the consolation bracket, and that helped your overall record. In a weird way, that loss, I'm sure you might have been in anyway, and you never know, but I don't know. It didn't hurt.
That was the thing. It was back on Friday the 22nd. Troy lost in a heartbreaking fashion to Southern Miss in the Sun Belt tournament. And at that point, my estimation was that Troy was not in the NCAAs. The next day, Troy had to beat South Alabama and they did. And then later on the day, had to beat Southern Miss again, and they did. And they made the round of 4 and ended up losing to Southern Miss on that Sunday, the 24th. It was those two games, the Saturday games on the 23rd, that I think got Troy in. The selection show for the NCAA tournament was Monday, May 25th. Really, this whole thing began it really began on the 22nd with the Grand Slam walk-off loss. On the 25th, Troy was one of the last 4 teams in the NCAA tournament. The selection show was made. Troy had the assignment to go to Gainesville for the Gainesville Regional against Florida, Miami, and Ryder. That began the next Friday on the 29th, which, of course, was less than 3 weeks away. Troy lost in the opening game. Miami scored 5 runs in the 8th inning, went it 10-5. So immediately Troy's in the elimination round. Had to win the next day against Ryder, and they did. And then Sunday the 31st, the last day of May, Troy beat Miami 9-6. Later that day, in another elimination game, beat Florida 12 to whatever. I don't have it right in front of me. 16-11 over Florida later on that day. So in one day, Troy had to beat Miami and Florida, and they did. And so Troy made the final game on Monday, and they beat Florida there 10-2. Gainesville regional champions. At that same time, in the Hattiesburg regional, Little Rock had upset a couple of teams, and they came out of the Hattiesburg regional. They're a 4 seed, which means that immediately, not only does Troy make the super regionals for the first time ever, but they get to host. On the 5th of June, Troy hosted the first of the best of 3 Troy super regional against Little Rock, won the first game on that Friday the 5th, which was 10 days ago, and won that 12-2, then won the next day by a final score of 7-2, and all of a sudden Troy's going to the College World Series. What's notable about that, Warren, is how much work between June the 1st and June the 5th Troy put in. The stadium seats 2,000 at Troy, and it's beautiful. Every seat's a chair back and all of that. It's absolutely a great venue. But everybody got together. Everybody worked. They put in temporary bleachers down the first base line for the students. They trucked in 2 huge collapsible bleachers from Gulf Shores to raise that's about 800 seats there. They opened up the entire left field terrace, for fans, sold tickets there. And in 2 days, we averaged 7,000 fans in a stadium that seats 2,000. And that was incredible.
So, Barry, our retired police chief in Greenville, Alonzo Ingram, and his wife came over, and I saw them Saturday night afterwards, and they go to a lot of the games, and the giddiness after that. And he said, he showed us a video where we're at dinner, and it was the coach doing Spider-Man up the fence and jumping over the fence. It just blew me away.
Yeah.
I mean, that's just insane.
Just in and of itself, the greatest thing for, you count it down, Warren, for Troy baseball, for Troy athletics, for Troy University, for the city of Troy. It was just absolutely amazing. And I'll never, ever forget it. And so now Troy's going to the College World Series. Holy smokes, never has happened before. Only the 3rd Sun Belt team ever to make it to the College World Series. So we go to Omaha, and everybody's, and I've been on a jillion radio shows since. My schedule has been incredible. So you come to Omaha on the 12th, which last Friday, and West Virginia scores 2 runs late on a big bouncer over first base, and they win. And Troy once again has to start from the elimination bracket. That was on Friday, and then on Sunday, yesterday, Troy beats Ole Miss, eliminates Ole Miss 12-8, the final score there. And Omaha really they support it amazingly well, but the people here, they really kind of pick out a team, the people
how
who
could
don't
you
have.
not? How could you not pick Troy out of all that
Troy
group?
is the team now. I'm telling you, all props to Georgia, to Texas, to Alabama, to Oklahoma, and all of that. But Troy is the underdog team that everybody's kind of taking it to heart. So you've had over the past 3.5 weeks the most incredible stretch of time I've ever had as the play-by-play voice of Troy University. And I'm not sure they're done yet. You got West Virginia again. You get another crack at them tomorrow at 1:00 in another elimination game. And there's so many different tangents you can take on it, just how much, again, it means to the university and to the people and all that. Troy, with the win yesterday, has eliminated, just in the past 2 weeks, Miami, Florida, Ole Miss. Troy is 5-4 this year against the SEC. 5-4 against the SEC, and only one of those games has taken place in Troy. There were 4 of those games.
Good luck getting those games. Good luck getting those games next year.
Next year is next year. I'll worry about next year. I know what you're saying, but it has been so incredible all the way around for all of this, and we're not ready for it to end. It's a really good team, and people don't mean it this way up here, but people have been saying, "Oh, good for little Troy, good for you." I know that Troy came into this thing not necessarily just glad to be here. Troy's got a really good team, a top 35 RPI. And they're in it to win some games, to hoist the championships. And we figure we've got just about as good of a chance as anybody now towards the end of the draw. It's been incredible.
What about the Alabama fans? Are you seeing? I can't imagine the numbers are there like some of the other places, because it just that as far as traveling to something like this,
it was. I went to the game. I haven't seen a bunch of them. My wife, who's here with me, we went to the game on Saturday against Oklahoma. And, of course, Oklahoma is the closest school to Omaha. And there were a jillion. The place is sold out. There were a jillion Oklahoma fans. And there were a few Alabama fans, not nearly as many. A lot of friends of mine, that are Alabama fans were there. I got a chance to talk with them. And they kind of admitted, they're not expecting a big crowd, even though they're a number 7 national seed. It'll be interesting to see because, the Tide plays again today. They play at 1:00. Of course, they lose to Oklahoma 9-0, and did not look good at all. So now they're in an elimination game against Texas. It's Monday. It's midday Monday. I'm sure a lot of the Alabama fans and probably a few of the Troy fans had to go back and get to work. It'll be a full house today at 1:00, but I hope. But the Alabama fans have not been as numerous.
Well, in homage to John, I just had to take a shot at Bama fan, just because I know he would say, what's it going to take to get people to go to a baseball game in Tuscaloosa. So yeah, I had to just pull up his manner. I bet there'll be some burnt orange there today. And Texas is a good team.
Yes, and they're a number 6 seed overall. Alabama's a number 7 seed. I had Texas maybe making it to the finals on the other side of the bracket. Texas lost on Friday to Georgia 7-1. Texas looked horrible in the first inning, pretty good the rest of the way. But boy, Georgia looks really, really strong to me. A lot of Bulldog fans here.
Oh, really?
A lot of Georgia fans here. I don't know, Warren, if it's just because Troy's played Georgia twice this year, and we've seen a lot of their fans, played them both in Athens, won one and lost one. But, you're walking through here, you're downtown Omaha, which is super, super nice. It's called the Old Market, right where our hotel is. And my wife, and I are walking, to dinner or something like that, or just, walking around or whatever. All of a sudden you hear hoop, hoop, hoop behind you, and it unsettles you, and I think, and there they are. And if, man, give me a warning if you're going to do that, So you kind of can. I don't know how you are. I grew up in a University of Florida household, and we were taught to hate the Bulldogs. But I don't know, but I can always kind of tell where Georgia fans are. You can always hear them more than anything else. But yeah, there are a bunch of them here, bunch of Oklahoma fans, and now the Trojans are in here. There have been at the start of the year something like 336 teams, schools playing Division I baseball. 336. Well, after today, there will be 6. And Troy is one of them. And cool. I am as proud as I can be of them, for sure.
No, absolutely.
Yep. We've got a lot going on the show today. Again, John is out. Warren adding a touch of culture, intelligence, and looks to the screen here today. We've got, of course, the chat line going on as well. Lots of you guys checking in. We're going to hit that hard today. I got to tell you, I am doing this show on the fly. I have had, we'll talk about it a little bit later on, over the past 3 weeks. Honestly, I must have done 28 different radio shows, podcasts. My social media is blowing up. I'll tell you a story about that when we come back as well. I'm Barry McKnight in Omaha. Warren Matthews alongside as well, subbing for John Longshore. This is Longshore and McKnight in association with Yellowhammer News, presented by Bud Light.
Well, Lyle has done it again at Marguerite's Exquisite Jewelry on Vaughn Road in Peppertree. Mention Longshore and McKnight and buy any of their 3-carat lab-grown diamonds for just $999. You heard me right. Any of Marguerite's 3-carat lab-grown diamonds for just $999. Mention Longshore and McKnight to get this incredible deal all month long in June. It is Lyle's June special at Marguerite's Exquisite Jewelry, open 7 days a week in Peppertree, adjacent to Chappie's Deli on Vaughn Road. Go by and mention Longshore and McKnight to take advantage of their 3-carat lab-grown diamonds for just $999 at Marguerite's, where they make it. They really make it.
Hey, where's the beer guy? Bud Light here? You get a Bud Light? Bud Light? I'm here, Bud Light. Bud Light here? Bud Light here? Bud Light here? Bud Light where? Bud Light here? Oh, Bud Light there. I missed that because of you. You did not miss that play because of me. Tough to stop talking this way? Yeah. It's actually kind of fun. Hey, I got your Bud Light. Oh, nice. Never mind. Anything for the clean, crisp taste of Bud Light. What'd I miss? I have no idea.
Big news for Central Alabama travelers. Getting to Texas just got easier. You can now fly nonstop from Montgomery to Houston with United Airlines. No long drives, no layovers, just smooth direct travel from your hometown airport. Whether it's business or a weekend getaway, Houston is now just one flight away. Spend more time there and less time getting there. Fly nonstop to Houston. Fly MGM, where travel feels easy. Book your trip today at flymgm.com.
Back again on the Monday show. It's Longshore and McKnight with Warren Matthews in here in Omaha. It's been such a magical ride. I'm bursting at the seams trying to keep up with everything, all the different radio shows. I think I've got one scheduled this morning in just a little while. I've had again easily a dozen and a half, maybe 20 something interviews that I've done. And, I've been putting, like I've had a video of my call of the final out yesterday that's gotten a lot of run. Here's how it's been. Before the game yesterday on the big video board, they run a lot of informational things. They really run things well. I've got everything set up. I'm ready. I'm just sitting there kind of taking it all in. And I look on the video, and they have just a simple little posting on the video board having to do with Troy, and I put it up on the board. It says Troy is the only non-power conference school to play in a bowl game, the NCAA men's basketball tournament, and the NCAA baseball tournament in 2025-2026. It was right before the game, and it was just kind of a throwaway moment. I said, well, let me get a picture of this. I'll post it because that's pretty cool. I've got like 7,000 likes and over 250,000 views on that. I'm thinking, holy smokes, I've never seen anything like that. And, you know, some of my other stuff. So it has been really a showcase for Troy University. And it's, you know, people have kind of gravitated towards it, which to me is the most gratifying thing out of the whole deal.
Barry, I'm not trying to take away from that, but and you probably aren't following everything, but there's a German soccer fan named Freddie who has gone viral, and he is now staying in a suite at the Post Oak Hotel in Houston and is being flown to the Ella Langley concert in Oklahoma City and has gotten free tickets. And he's gotten like 1 million views. And this is some dude named Freddie who he won't even put his picture on there. He puts his picture with a smiley face on his face. So I understand you've got your moment, but Fred, I just want you to know Freddie's got his moment too. So, but it's not as pure, you know, we're not keeping score. This isn't a competition.
No.
It's okay.
Between the College World Series.
That's an amazing stat. It just is. That's amazing. That's an amazing thing that was on there.
Yeah. It's, you know, the College World Series, the World Cup. I would imagine that has got, they've got their own viewers. I imagine they've got, you know.
Well, wait, hold on a second. Which do you think's bigger in the Wiregrass right now? The World Cup or the College World Series?
Well, you know, you got Dothan United down there.
Yeah, I
guess
you've got
down at Rip Hughes Stadium.
Down at Rip Hughes Stadium, where I almost got arrested one time. But that's a whole nother story.
All right, 30-second time out here. We'll now pause our sports commentary to hear the story of how Warren almost got arrested at Rip Hughes Stadium.
Don't drive drunk teenagers, and I was not the drunk one, but I was the driver. So I got pulled out of Rip Hughes Stadium with 4 other guys who were drunk. And I missed one of the greatest moments in Carroll High School football history when we had a tipped pass for the immaculate reception. We beat Dothan High School, which never happened. So I missed it because I was trying to negotiate with the popo out in the parking lot because my stupid friends had got drunk at halftime in the station wagon. So that I was driving them.
I've got so many good friends down in Ozark. Kirk Adams and my great friend Les Peralt, Stuart Smith,
Les.
Yeah, those guys who are all invested in Carroll High School football, and man, they deserve a winner down there. They do.
They need some.
They
need some. They need something. Anyway.
Yeah.
So tomorrow at 1:00, we've got West Virginia, right?
Yes, no. West Virginia, 1:00. I've got the radio call at 12:45. It's another elimination scenario. There's so many different numbers you can put on this. Again, Troy is now 5-4 this year against the SEC, and only one of those games has been in Troy. The fact that Troy is now counting regionals has now won 5 straight elimination games. This is 5, you know, where if you lose this game, your season's over. Dating back to the regionals in Gainesville, Troy was never challenged in the super regional, and now they've won an elimination game here. It's been unbelievable. And meanwhile, with those 5 elimination games that Troy has won in a row, they have eliminated Miami. They've eliminated Florida. They've eliminated Ole Miss, and they'll have a chance tomorrow to eliminate West Virginia. Just so many crazy things about this. There's a kid from Pike Road named Jabe Boroff. He spent the last 2 years at Enterprise State, where he
Jabe Ruth.
Yep, that's Jabe Ruth.
Are they still the Wolverines? I mean, the
Boll Weevils.
The Boll Weevils.
The Boll Weevils.
Yes.
I see them sometimes. Enterprise is only about 30 minutes away from Troy, where I live. Sometimes you see the Boll Weevil, whatever it is, baseball team, golf team, basketball team, whatever. Warren, they've got their own bus, and it's distinctive. Their colors are green and something. And that bus will pull through Troy, and it says in huge letters, Enterprise State, Boll Weevils. And they got a huge shrink-wrapped bus with a huge Boll Weevil on the side. And it'll get your attention now. It'll get your attention.
You did not grow up in the Wiregrass, so you cannot appreciate. That's I have a lot of family. My grandmother grew up in Enterprise. So the Boll Weevil and the Boll Weevil statue, which went missing for many years and has since been recovered, it's a big deal. And it's, the bottom line is they celebrated the rodent that took out all of the cotton that was in the area, and that forced everybody to diversify and get away from cotton and maybe not, crash as bad as everybody else in the Black Belt and everywhere else. So they, but you tell people, and every time somebody, my people I work with or anybody, they're going to Enterprise, they look, go get your picture made at the statue.
Yeah.
What statue are you talking about? I said, I'm not even going to tell you. You'll figure it out.
Yeah. I've had friends of mine, who love I've got family, my family lives in, brothers and sisters, they live in Los Angeles, and they live in Jacksonville, Florida, and they live in Bloomington, Indiana. And, some of their friends that I get to meet, they're all like, all right, now where is Troy? And I'll say, well, it's about an hour south of Montgomery. And you'll talk a little bit about, Montgomery and all the history there. And we'll talk about the area and all that. And I said, I've got tons of friends in Enterprise where they've got the Boll Weevil statue. And they'll say, Boll Weevil, what is that? And I'll innocent inside. I said, there's no way there's a statue in the center of Enterprise. I said, oh yeah, I mean, it's right in the middle of the thoroughfare. You drive right by it and everything. It's a big old tall statue. No, so there has been honestly, I know 2 times, maybe more, that I have driven down to Enterprise to prove to a friend of mine from out of town, here I am with a statue of the Boll Weevil. You park on the side, you run out to the middle, take a picture with the statue and to prove that there is a statue of a Boll Weevil in Enterprise. Anyway, Jay Boroff, 2 years at Enterprise State, where he was a junior college All-American. He came to Troy this past fall and had a terrific fall. He's from Macon East, and he was killing it in Macon East. Then he went to Enterprise State. Then he's at Troy, had a great fall, was really counting on him this year. And he came out in February and just was not good. Was not good. Really struggled. He'd never struggled hitting a baseball before in his life, and it really kind of got to him a little bit. And so he didn't play very much. He had, I think, 12 hits all year long and 1 home run. And then, he got a start against South Alabama because one of our catchers was sick. Jimmy Janicki, the All-American, was sick. And our backup catcher, after the first game, had gotten a concussion. He got hit in the back of the head with a pitch. And so they stuck him in there, and he hit a home run. And all right, so, the next day, the backup catcher couldn't go again, and he came in, and he got another couple of hits, and he's been off and going. He was the most outstanding. He had 12 hits all season long. He had 10 hits in the Gainesville Regional and 4 home runs, and he was the Gainesville Regional most outstanding player. And, the legend of Jay Boroff began. He had 2 homers in the Super Regional in Troy against Little Rock, including a grand slam. He had a huge 2-run double yesterday. to give him just in the NCAA tournament to give him 21 RBIs in the tournament. Now, bear in mind, we're only 2 games into the College World Series, and 21 RBIs is the most RBIs for any player in the NCAA tournament since 2008, and hopefully still, 3 or 4 or 5 more games to go for Troy. It's been a great story, and one of those things that legends are made of, Warren.
But isn't that when you get to kind of the second, well, not the second week, but just into the week, your pitching's going to be thinner. So it's got to be a home run derby. It's got to be get the bats going because everybody's going to be thin on the pitching, probably except maybe North Carolina. But I mean, it's
because of the draw. You don't have to play every day. Troy played on Friday. Troy played yesterday on a Sunday. They don't play again till Tuesday. You've got a chance to rest, but it's never enough rest. People say, well, they spread the tournament out. Yeah, but it's still hard on your pitching. It's in the regionals and in the super regionals where you play every day, it's different because pitching is so important because you have your 3 weekend starters that go and go and go. But when you get to the College World Series, especially if you get deep, you've got to hit the ball because you're pitching against a threadbare staff. I don't care who you are. And your staff is threadbare. So you have got to score and score and score again. You don't see, for instance, you don't see as many sacrifice bunts in the College World Series. Because, man, you got to swing the bat. You've got to score runs in bunches. Couple of things here. Good questions. My buddy Les Perrault, one of the fine men I know, he says that was the most exciting game. The deal, of course, Troy fell behind. They were down 6-2 and weren't doing much. Didn't get off to a great start.
All right, hey, Barry, at that point, what are you feeling? I know you're calling a game, and look, you've got to be, well, you're not going to be unbiased, but you're feeling, what are your thoughts? You still feel, you've seen this team play as many times. And did you feel like, okay, we're okay? I mean, we're okay. That's we're down 4, but we're okay.
Yes. I made the point on the air. I said the Trojans are not dead yet, and that made social media and everything. At that point, I mean, I'm feeling good because I've seen them do it before, over and over and over again. Come back, they score a run here, and you're thinking, let's just keep piecing it. Then they had the big inning with the balk, and then the 2-run double by Boroff, and then the homer by Cavill, and then the homer by Janicki, which tied the game. And Jimmy is an All-American. Robbie from Greenville says, please go over that balk call that turned the Ole Miss game around. That really did change the momentum. It didn't win the game for Troy. It didn't lose the game for Ole Miss, but that got a run in with the bases loaded. Their pitcher, his name is Hunter Elliott. He was the one that started for them as a freshman on the mound when in the national championship game in 2022. He was undefeated. And he's
the only player from that team, I think, that's still on the team.
Yes,
is that right?
Yes, he's it. And bases loaded. Troy needs a spark, and he starts. He's on the mound. He's on the rubber. The play is live, and he's on the rubber, and he begins up here. Then he's having a problem with his earpiece, where you can hear the pitch call from the dugout. That's a thing in baseball these days. So he stops and points to his ear in mid-set, and you can't do that. He had done it before, and it didn't get called. That is an obvious ball call all day long. You have to, you can't stop just randomly at any point during your setup and delivery to the plate. And that got a run in, and that steamed them and got them, got the Ole Miss fans and the Ole Miss team a little bit incensed. And I think kind of got their, kind of got them distracted as well. And then, of course, later on, I don't have the sequence exactly right, in Troy's big 4-run inning where they added to the lead. There's a pop fly that to third base with a runner at first and third and 2 outs. Pop fly to third base. Third baseman cannot see it. Shortstop runs over. He's underneath it. Sun's in everybody's eyes, and it pops out of his glove. Run scores from third, but with 2 outs. Sean Darnell from Wetumpka, he was at first with 2 outs. It's a pop-up. He scores from first on a drop pop-up on the infield. He didn't jog around. He didn't nonchalant anything. He kept running, and Troy scores 2 runs there. That led to the run. If that's what Dr. B's talking about. And ended up really helping as well. Just a lot of different things had to happen, and Troy made most of those things happen. So,
all right, we're up against a break.
Yep.
We'll be back just one second.
The Destin Connection Seafood Market at 3750 Norman Bridge Road in Montgomery has the freshest seafood direct from the Gulf of America. I'm talking red snapper and grouper, all sizes of Gulf shrimp, jumbo lump crab meat, and crab claws, Louisiana Bay oysters, and New Bedford scallops. They are a full-service seafood market and kitchen serving po' boys, dinners, and sandwiches. You know, many well-known restaurants in the river region purchase their seafood from the Destin Connection because they know it's the absolute best. Call ahead and your order will be ready for pickup. The Destin Connection Seafood Market, 3750 Norman Bridge Road. Call 288-4272. That's 288-4272.
Budweiser and take a knee. It is the best time of the year. It's baseball season. That means sunshine. It means behind-the-back peanut tosses. And it means sharing some cold, frosty Budweisers with your boys. Because there's nothing more American than watching America's game with America's beer. So let me ask you something. Are you ready to bring your A game? Are you ready to cheer every frozen rope down the line and amazing catch at the warning track? Are you ready for pitchers' duels and slugfests? Tell me, are you ready for the thrill of an incredible walk-off victory? I can't hear you. Are you ready for Budweiser and baseball? Then get on your feet, raise an ice-cold Bud, and let's make this season larger than life. Great times are waiting. Grab some Buds!
Enjoy responsibly. Budweiser Beer, Anheuser-Busch, St. Louis, Missouri.
Big news for Central Alabama travelers. Getting to Texas just got easier. You can now fly nonstop from Montgomery to Houston with United Airlines. No long drives, no layovers, just smooth direct travel from your hometown airport. Whether it's business or a weekend getaway, Houston is now just one flight away. Spend more time there and less time getting there. Fly nonstop to Houston. Fly MGM, where travel feels easy. Book your trip today at flymgm.com.
Back again here from Omaha. Warren Matthews here along. John is out all week long, and things settle down a little bit. I got to admit, we win yesterday. Get out of there about 5 o'clock, catch the team bus back to the hotel, which was rollicking. Then we went out and celebrated with dinner last night. So I'm scrambling. We are going to, I'm going to spend some time today kind of setting up guests for later on in the week. And certainly I'll take your suggestions there. Today's a day to work on the Longshore and McKnight a little bit before we get ready to play again tomorrow. I know there's a lot about the World Cup on there, and I've watched one match, and I've watched as much of it as I could, and that was on Friday when the USA beat Paraguay 4-1.
Hey,
I gotta tell you, I missed Ivory Coast's Cote d'Ivoire, whatever. I missed their 1-0 win in the match against Ecuador. I didn't see Iran versus New Zealand. No, that comes up tonight, as a matter of fact. Iran and New Zealand tonight. Or I'm probably not going to watch that. I love the World Cup just like I love the Olympics. I love all the diversity, people from all over the place coming to North America. And you learn something about some of these things. I could not get a map out and tell you where Qatar is, or however you pronounce it. I know it's in the Middle East.
They call it, and it's funny. I had this conversation. It's either Qatar or Qatar. You can, you know.
Yeah.
But they had a huge goal for a tie. They'd never scored a point.
Yeah.
In World Cup play. That's, you know, that's just one of those things. They're still celebrating one goal.
Yeah, and it happened at the
93rd minute.
93rd minute. Match lasts 90 minutes with stoppage time. And that's the latest game-tying goal in World Cup history. And they've been playing the World Cup for about, 400 years or whatever like that. So they're dancing in the streets of Qatar against Switzerland. Switzerland won. Qatar won the final score there in that match. Didn't watch it. Didn't catch it.
I actually caught the goal. I flipping.
Yeah.
You know how you flip? I was just kind of flipping, and it was not on the normal Fox channel.
Right.
It was like I have Dish, so it's like on 148 or 9. It was past ESPN in one of these extra channels, which just kind of happened. And I turned and I was like, all right, I'll watch this for 5 minutes. And it was stoppage time. I'm like, well, it's going to be over soon. But and damn, boom.
There you go.
I mean, that's it's crazy. You see it now. All right. So
I can't tell you much about Switzerland or the Swiss soccer team or anything. I only have one joke about Switzerland. I don't know much about Switzerland. And, they say it's a great country, but I know their flag is a big plus.
That's right.
Anyway,
there you go. There's a Barry joke. We won't even call it a dad joke. We'll just call it a Barry joke.
Yeah. But I'm wondering, why Canada, they tied their match, but they had to play against Bosnia and Herzegovina. That doesn't seem fair, The
fact they're not fighting each other is very important.
That is true.
So Tiffany Gurn, Gurn Jr.'s sister, has taken a new job that's located. She works remote, but the home base is Toronto, where she is headed today. And she's like, "Hey, Dad, we finish up Wednesday afternoon. There's a World Cup game in Toronto Wednesday night, and you can look it up. I can't even remember the two countries. You're talking about two I'd never heard of."
Right.
And I said, well, you should go. I mean, you'll rarely have an opportunity to go to a World Cup match. And so we looked it up, and there's actually a ticket for like $360, which it's a lot of money, but if it's once in a lifetime thing, you spend the money. It's kind of like we had a sister-in-law years ago. She said, "Hey, I'm taking the whole family to the Rose Bowl because Alabama's playing the national championship. It's a once in a lifetime thing." And then 17 years later, I
have to deal with Longshore, who says, that game, was that the Texas national championship game, or was that Notre Dame? What year did Alabama win the national championship?
It was a once in a lifetime thing.
It's nauseating.
It's a once in a lifetime thing that wasn't.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, I mean, it's and there's I think I mentioned the other day when you were off, I was on here. There's a buddy of mine who's got box seats that I think are worth like $5,000 a piece for Atlanta. I mean, it's a big deal, and soccer's a huge deal for the world.
It is
it's not as big a deal for us.
Yeah,
it's a big deal for the world.
I've told this story. My brother Mike, who has been on our show back when we were radio only, was a sports writer for years before Sports Illustrated, before it collapsed. And what you're seeing right now that says Sports Illustrated, that's not Sports Illustrated. They have bought the brand. They have bought the name. It ain't really Sports Illustrated. But anyway, he works now for LAFC, which is a Major League Soccer team. They play at BMO Stadium down in downtown Los Angeles, and they have really good team. Of course, I do Troy women's soccer on ESPN Plus, so I've really become a soccer file over the last little while, and I know what's going on. I get all that, but the thing that it really still does not even equate to me is, all right, people complain about soccer because they say there's not enough action, there's not enough scoring and all that. I can kind of get that. I kind of do. You know, the crowd goes nuts if you get a shot on goal. You don't score, you just shoot it towards the goal, people go crazy. I know what's going on. You know, I'm not ignorant about soccer. I'm not one of these guys that, hey, all that swishy with the ball, I don't get it. I'm not that guy. But sometimes I do think that the level of excitement in the crowd way overmatches what's actually happening on the pitch. You know, there ain't anything going on. And I mean, there's people up there, they're doing the songs, they're doing the chants, they're drinking the lager. You know, they are so freaking excited about something that if it's American football, you're sitting there and thinking, okay, it's 2nd and 9 from your own 20-yard line. Let's get up and cheer and lose our minds and, you know, throw confetti and all. It just, the excitement in the stands sometimes doesn't seem to match the play on the field.
Doesn't that sum up the United States versus the world, though? We are a society of, we want, you know, and there's nothing wrong with that. But we want it fast.
Let's go. Come on. The action.
We want it. We want it now. We want to have it. And you know, it's everybody can play soccer. I mean, I say that everybody. Yeah. You don't have to be 6'4", 260. You know, but and I'll say this: I played a little. I didn't play. I mean, I had, you know, PE and all that stuff.
Right.
I hate soccer as a participation sport. You run the whole time, and then you run some more, and then you turn around and go back, and then you run some more. I am not a runner.
See,
I'm a lover, not a runner. You know, if you're a runner, it's the greatest sport in the world. You ever played ultimate frisbee? Same thing. You run, and then somebody drops the frisbee, and then you turn around and you run the other way till somebody scores.
I've got a word for you. It's a long word. It's a compound word. Goalkeeper.
Yeah, well,
you could have.
I could have
migrated
been
towards that, but the thing is when you are playing youth soccer, when you're starting to gain an appreciation for the nuances of the game as a small child and teamwork and, you know, being with other children, you know, with a common goal, and you're 6 or 7 or 8 playing youth soccer and you're the goalkeeper, probably you're a little husky. Right, you know, you're not thin and svelte. That's why they put you at goalkeeper. And there's too many times when I've seen it out there, and the goalkeeper's over there. He's in the lotus position, sitting there. All the action's good. He's picking a dandelion, or you know, tying his shoe or something like that, and looking into the crowd and waving to mom and all that. It's difficult to really get engaged in soccer when you're a goalkeeper. And it definitely in the sport to pursue if you hate to run.
So here's the visual, Barry. You've got a 8 to 10-year-old young Gurn senior who was heavy, so heavy that they took me to a special doctor in Montgomery to make sure something wasn't wrong with me. And the guy basically says he doesn't have, you know, I had a thyroid issue. Yeah. But I also had an eating issue. That was the issue. I ate everything.
Right.
And so you're talking about going to the store. So we would go to the store in Montgomery, the Name Dropper out in Normandale, and you'd walk in, and this is the most humiliating thing as a child. And the person at the front would say, "Yes, ma'am, the husky section is in the back." They'd look at me, and you walk past all the normal clothes to the husky section. And so same thing in Enterprise. We had a cousin. It's Yancey Parker was a cousin. We'd go, and right across from the boll weevil was Yancey Parker's. And we'd go, we've got your stuff in the back, Miss Matthews. You know, take Warren back there, you know.
Yeah, so wouldn't even break stride.
And back then they didn't really have, you know, lots of options on clothing, you know. So it was that's where I started. But if you also had to imagine in baseball, I was I called it a right side player. first base at best, right field, typical, and not athletic enough to be the catcher.
Yeah.
So
the world of soccer, I love it. I do love the energy. It's just a lot of times I don't get it, but I think it's great, man. If you can get excited over another, those are my kind of people. You've got to live life with a little bit of excitement and passion. But and I love it. That's, to me, one of the things I love the best, because I have been to soccer matches. I've never been to a World Cup. I would be one of those who would go, again, for the experience. You only have a certain amount of time here on this planet. You're gonna, one of these days you're gonna be on the edge of the staircase, towards the pearly gates, and you're going to think, man, I wish I had done that. Or, man, why didn't I do that? I'm sitting there at home playing video games, and I should have been doing that. So I'm telling you, like, for instance, coming up in the World Cup today, you've got, let's pick one out, Saudi Arabia versus Uruguay. Okay. Evidently, Uruguay is pretty good. They're favored in that match. They're down in Miami at John still calls it Joe Robbie Stadium, whatever it's Hard Rock Stadium or whatever.
Hard Rock. It's it's up north of town, right?
Yeah, and it's nowhere near the University of Miami where they play, by the way, which is what hurts Miami football. But you got Saudi Arabia versus Uruguay in the knockout stage. It's not even really towards the good stuff yet, down in Miami. I would pay $100 to watch that. I wouldn't, if nobody wanted to go with me, I'd still go, just because, I'm going to hang out with the Uruguayans, maybe the Arabians over there, and just kind of dig the whole thing. I think that's why a lot of people go. It's just kind of a good little vibe there. I am of course, I've been busy as three people over the last 3 weeks or a month. I'm busy all the time anyway, and I haven't had a chance to watch. But yeah, I'm watching the World Cup if and when I ever get a moment. Dewey Oxberger says Belgium versus Egypt. That'll be a good match. All right, I get it. I think one of the isn't Mo Salah? Isn't he Egyptian? I don't know. Belgium. All right, you've sold me on that. Now, I can tell you, like in the group of 5 in football, I can tell you North Texas versus Jacksonville State, that's a pretty good ball game, which is kind of what this is. I couldn't tell you whether Belgium and Egypt is a good match or not. I mean, somebody could probably sell me on Uruguay versus Peru or Ecuador versus Finland. I'd say, yeah, even though it may be a terrible match, I'd watch it just to kind of, hey, this is cool. It's not a bucket list item, but it's a good way to spend an afternoon. And later on, say, yeah, that's like when John went to the Olympic race walking in Atlanta for the Olympics. He is not I've seen John race walk before. It's during a commercial break at Stivers when he's got to.
Little coffee download.
A little bit too much, but he ain't gonna sit there and say, hey, Barry, there's race walking. It's an SEC race walking match between Mississippi State and Kentucky. You want to go to the race walking tournament? No, he ain't doing that. But you do it just for the experience. And I totally relate to that.
So the worst Olympic experience I had in Atlanta is that we packed everybody, not everybody, because I don't think Gurn Jr. was even born. I guess he was, he wasn't born then.
96.
And so we packed up, went to several events, including track and field, which was pretty good. Boxing was good. But went to see diving, Olympic diving.
Right.
And worst event I've ever seen.
I've called SEC swimming and diving before.
We had unbelievable seats. I mean, we were right there, right there. Could see the Chinese, divers doing whatever. And you can't tell what's good or average. Now you can tell what's bad. You know what's bad when somebody over rotates and does a belly flop, basically. but everything else, no. It's just the worst viewing. I mean, I left that place going, that was a waste of time. Then we went to team handball, which was the best thing I've ever seen in my life.
It doesn't seem like that has any rules. I mean, you're running around.
You have to, like
there's no traveling. There's no back
there
court.
is. You got to bounce it kind of every now and then. You got to bounce.
But it's like at your leisure. You know, I feel like I'm, as long as you do it every once in a while.
Yeah. It's kind of like you're saying, the events like that, you got a once in a lifetime type thing. You gotta take advantage of it. They're not going to ask you what you did do. They're like, it's what you didn't do.
Right. And I've done television for swimming and diving. I've done SEC swimming and diving, Auburn versus Florida. Believe it or not, this is many, many years ago. And my color analyst was Rowdy Gaines.
Of course.
And believe me, and I'm a swimmer, I'm not much of a diver, but you talk about leaning on somebody heavily. Diving is like, it happens so fast. I'll be like, that looked pretty good. It wasn't a huge splash. Tell me about it, Rowdy. That girl flipped around a few times, and he's talking about pike position this and, rotated on the pipe or whatever. I'm thinking, yeah, that sounds good. Let's move on to the next dive. And the dive lasts, a second and a half, and back to Rowdy. That's if I'm watching just diving, I probably am like you. I would not appreciate it.
Well, if you're in the South, it's either Rowdy, is it Jenny Chandler? Jennifer Chandler. Chandler, she's from Birmingham originally. She's a diver.
I've actually interviewed her. I've got a picture of her.
Yeah, so she, she's, you get those two, and that's about it. There's nobody else.
Yeah, and you're sitting there, and I've lived in the South my whole life, and I'm thinking, is anybody going to do a cannonball? Has anybody even heard of a preacher's seat? Can anybody do one of those? I want to. If I'm out there, I'd have at least that competition.
That's
I'm
right.
putting because you can bet on that. You're okay. Give me that 350-pound guy from Chelsea right there. I'm betting on him. Biggest splash. That guy's going to empty the pool. And then you have. You've got to have some sort of a allowance for diving in the South. Let's have a cannonball competition, something like that. I don't know. Let's take a break. We're approaching the top of the hour. Warren Matthews is in for John Longshore, who's out all week. I'm in Omaha, Nebraska, having the time of my life. And Warren, we have absolutely flown through the first hour of the show.
Yeah, first hour on to the second one, Barry. Here we go.
Great. Let's take a break.
Well, Lyle has done it again at Marguerite's Exquisite Jewelry on Vaughn Road in Peppertree. Mention Longshore and McKnight and buy any of their 3-carat lab-grown diamonds for just $999. You heard me right. Any of Marguerite's 3-carat lab-grown diamonds for just $999. Mention Longshore and McKnight to get this incredible deal all month long in June. It is Lyle's June special at Marguerite's Exquisite Jewelry, open 7 days a week in Peppertree, adjacent to Chappie's Deli on Vaughn Road. Go by and mention Longshore and McKnight to take advantage of their 3-carat lab-grown diamonds for just $999 at Marguerite's, where they make it, they really make it.
Hey, bro, weirdest thing is happening at the game. This guy sitting next to me says, "You're our good luck charm. Every time I crack a Bud Light, we score a touchdown." Now his entire family wants to buy me Bud Lights. I think I'm some kind of a football prophet. Talk soon. The team needs me.
Anything for Bud Light, the official beer sponsor of the NFL. Stock up today. Enjoy responsibly. Copyright 2025 Anheuser-Busch Bud Light Beer, St. Louis, Missouri.
This summer, Dixie Electric Plumbing and Air is on a Jurassic hunt for the oldest HVAC systems and water heaters in town. If your system is a fossil, now's your chance. Replace it between June 1st and July 31st, and you could win big. We're giving $2,500 back for the oldest HVAC systems and $1,000 back for the oldest water heater. Even if you don't win, you still score major savings on your new HVAC system, water heater, generator, and or garage door. Don't let your systems go extinct. Call Dixie, and it's
We are 1 hour into our week's worth of programming here on Longshore and McKnight. We're at the top of our second live hour. If you're watching us on loop, on repeat, or listening to us on Spotify or Apple, iTunes, or gosh, any one of the different many media that we are on. If it's 8 o'clock Central Time, Monday morning, you're watching us live. Otherwise, we appreciate you. Make sure you hit the like button. It does help us out. Make sure you hit the subscribe button. As we look now, this is episode number 454, the Ooga-Chaka Ooga-Ooga. That is actually the lyric from
Hooked on a Feeling.
From Blue Swede. It's not the original. It's not Billy Joel, right? It's B.J. Thomas. B.J. Thomas sang the original Hooked on a Feeling. Blue Swede, who I've never heard of before and haven't heard since, was the one who did it. And the lyric always goes, Ooga-Chaka, Ooga-Chaka, Ooga, Ooga, Ooga.
I think it made Guardians of the Galaxy too.
It did.
Yes.
It did.
It's which has, I've not seen the third one, but the first two, the soundtrack of that just hits our era.
Yeah.
Barry. Look. 60-year-old music. I was talking to somebody, a client, and I didn't know how old they were. And I asked them, and they said, yeah, I'm 60 or about to be 60. And I said, well, we grew up with the same music, and we talked for music for like 30 minutes. And it wasn't anything deep. It wasn't like music history or anything like that. And then yesterday we're driving to Mobile to play a little pickleball, and on my Sirius XM 70s on 7.
I love it.
They will replay American Top 40.
Yes.
And this was from June 12th, 1976. So that's 50 years ago. I was 10 to 11 years old. It was the summer. And I don't know if you remember this, Barry, but songs that came out in the summer just get imprinted on your brain.
That's because
you're
things.
At the pool, You're at the pool, somebody's playing the record. I mean, not the record player, but like the radio, and they're just churning it out over and over and over and over and over. Summer songs. I still don't know why. All right, what is it? The thing that Hey Mr. The Shark song, the song where they took all the it was all the movie titles, and they did it to songs, and one was about Jaws. It was a novelty. It was a novelty song. Those kind hit, and this was great. Yesterday, the 14th ranked song in June 12th of 1976 was the theme from Beretta.
Oh, with Sammy Davis Jr.
There you go.
Your eye on the sparrow.
So there you go. That's So that's
maybe that was Superfly, but
that's Superfly. This was somebody. It was a rando. But anyway, that's that's where you get a lot of these song titles and things like that. And this song is in my top 5.
Yeah,
I just have to say, every time it comes on, also Twilight Zone by Golden Earring. That hits me. It's in a top 5.
Surrender. The opening to that,
Surrender by Cheap Trick. I've just got these. There's just certain rando songs that slay me when I hear them. So anyway, that's enough. That's enough on the musical history.
Always trying to find the exact moment in the opening to Sweet Emotion by Aerosmith, where and then it goes, bam, sweet. You always try to hit that. Is it now? No, it's not now.
It's never. You're always too soon on it.
Yes,
You're always too
always.
quick. You're never too late on it.
Yeah.
You're always that never sneaks up on you.
Yeah, the summer for me has gotten extended with baseball season. I'm in Omaha, Nebraska, at the Hyatt downtown with the team. Been here since Wednesday, and here it is Monday, and we play again on Tuesday. Having the time of my life. My wife.
Did you bring enough underwear? I just want to know. Or did you have to go wash? Go down and wash. You go down. Do they have a laundry?
Yes, they do.
Hotel.
Yes, they do. I've been traveling. People laugh at me with my schedule, and God bless my wife Dee, because I'm gone a lot. But traveling for football, 6 road games and a bowl game and a conference championship game. Traveling for basketball, where you're traveling all the time. And then basketball, fortunate enough to win the Sun Belt tournament, which is in Pensacola. So you go to the NCAA. So we're traveling to Oklahoma City while baseball's going on. I missed about 2 weeks of baseball. And baseball yesterday, Troy won over Ole Miss, eliminated Ole Miss here in Omaha at the College World Series in Game 70 of the Troy season. This has been the longest season in terms of game. I have never done 70 games in a college season ever. And here we are in Omaha. Last week we were in Gainesville, and last week we're back in Troy, but the week before we were in Gainesville, and then the tournament, of course, was in Montgomery and all that. It's just all the time. But I have a pretty good setup as far as clothes go. One of the great things that has ever happened in collegiate sports, one of the only, I think, positive developments that's come out of the COVID year of 2020 is the fact that college basketball coaches understood that it was really dumb to wear suits at every game. Because I would always dress the way the coaches dressed on the road representing Troy. I'd always bring, and Troy would play 2 games on a weekend in Sun Belt play, and I'd have to bring 2 suits, 2 ties, 2 dress shirts, and dress shoes and all that. And because of COVID, they just stopped. You'd wear something nice, polo shirt and all that, which was great for me. Made it a whole lot easier for me, but still, you have your routine. I'm bringing this every week. I don't have to worry about it. Just get it washed and we're back on the road and everything. So I've got that knocked out. But I'm telling you, 11 days in Omaha, and I'm planning on being here all the way up to the championship game and lifting that trophy for Troy. 11 days will stress your packing skills.
All right, Barry, I know this is not an option for you because you're a proper person and you're a professional, all that. But I just want to let you know, just in case if an emergency is for men, a pair of underwear is 2 days. You can wear them 2 days, one inside and one inside out. So I just want to make sure you're aware of that, not just in case you get down to it. And you can go commando. Commando's an option.
Which is what Longshore suggested to me.
Well, that doesn't surprise me.
Yeah, that's when he says, "Why? Why even?" That's definitely not an option. Not an option at all. But the switching it inside and out, it may get to that. I sure hope not. I sure hope not. But there is a Walmart. There is a Target, and I do have a credit card. So that may be an even greater option
there you go.
Well. It's great to see all the reaction for the Troy fans. You and I were talking before we went on the air, and this is obviously the biggest story, I think. My buddy Joe Judkins, who lives down in the Panhandle on the beach, huge Troy fan. He said it'll be interesting to see how many fans had to go home. I hope we're still represented. Yeah, I know a lot of them who are dyed-in-the-wool Troy fans, but they can't afford to take a week's vacation off. That led to another chat we had. I believe it was Bill from Baltimore, who he said, well, what's your summer look like once you get done? Yeah, he says, what's next for you, Barry, whenever the baseball season ends? Well, it'll end in late June. And, the national championship game in college baseball. I've still got to believe that. And then in a couple of weeks, we'll move on and we'll have the show down in Tampa at the SEC Media Days. That's a month away.
That's
And
a
so we
month
get started,
away. Isn't that crazy?
and then we get going, and then we start getting ready for fall. What I do usually June and July, mostly July, is my month to just, I mean, I spend so much time during the summer with Dee, with my wife. She's so great and spends so much time just having to deal with my crazy career. We do what Dee would like to do a lot of the times, and she's awesome and she's so much fun. So that's kind of what my focus is whatever Dee dreams up or wants to do, that's what we'll do. And you do have to recharge the batteries, because I'm going from really, the middle of August until June, and it's going all the time. I've got a child. He's not a child. He turned 34 2 days ago, but I've got grandkids. My mom lives in town and all that. So it's always scrambling around. So you try to remember that you are, a human being, and you do have family and all that. So I spend a lot of time doing that during the summer as well, at least as much as I can anyway. So
still you're still waiting for your NIL.
Yeah.
I mean,
and
where's the love? When are we finally going to get to the announcers getting theirs? Right?
Yeah.
Everybody else is getting theirs. Coaches, players, staff. I mean, it's time for the announcers to get theirs.
We got
a donor. You got a donor that's out there ready to give.
Let's
some
do that. Let's do that.
Barry, right?
We have sponsors and stuff, obviously, for everything that we do. And, sometimes we have to turn down sponsorships, not because the companies are bad or, there's certain things the NCAA does not allow you to have as sponsors, including tobacco products, for instance. But there are some other things that don't work. The old executive director of the Orange Bowl was telling a story one time at a gathering I was at. And they had a multi-million-dollar sponsorship deal for the Orange Bowl. But they had to turn it down because it was Apple, and you can't have the Apple Orange Bowl. We had an offer on the table from a company to sponsor our broadcast booth. This is years ago. This is not recently. When I first got started at Troy, it was going to be sponsored by Alagasco, and we were going to it was Southeast Alabama Gas, which is a wonderful company. But it did not sound right to have the Southeast Alabama Gas broadcast booth. That was not necessarily descriptive of what we were doing, stuff like that.
Well, Barry, I've gotten some intel, and I just want to dispel any rumors that are out there, is that Barry's going to wait till the end of the season to look at any other offers, and the Texas Tech offer he's been received to go out there for 1.5 to be the voice of the Red Raiders for 1.5. He's not considering it. It's not on the table right now, and
I've two of my best friends in the coaching industry have both coached at Texas Tech. One of them as an assistant. Of course, Tommy Tuberville was the head coach at Texas Tech, and we talk obviously with Tuberville a lot. And the other one is Neil Brown, who used to be the head coach at Troy. He was one of the first ones to text me after Troy won the regional. He's now the head coach at North Texas. And they were talking about the specific challenges of coaching in Lubbock, Texas, which are that it's not particularly scenic. It's not a beautiful campus. The people who love Texas Tech, the people who are big, they are dyed in the wool, because by gosh, you have to love Texas Tech, because there's not a lot of other stuff to recommend it. But now they've got the one big super donor, Cody Campbell, who funds pretty much all their NIL. And now Texas Tech is challenging for championships and has a little bit. But I'm here to tell you right now, number one, you're not going to get me out of Troy, Alabama with a hammer and chisel. Love the school, love the people I work with, love the student athletes. My wife is a Troy graduate. She's been in Troy since 1993. My mom lives in Troy now, about a mile away from our house. My son and daughter-in-law and grandkids live in Trussville. That's 2 hours away. I'm not going anywhere for the rest of my career, but if there was an opening for somebody at Texas Tech as a broadcaster, I'd have to counsel them. Look, you better look at this thing, because those fans are rabid. They love you, and it's a Power 4 school and all that. But man, Lubbock.
So Barry
Matt Davis wrote that song for a reason.
That's right. We had Coach on Wednesday when you were gone, and he did not take a shot at Lubbock. I was on pins and needles. I was ready for I took a shot at Lubbock, but he did not take a shot at Lubbock. So
he has said before, many years ago, when he was on with us, when he was a coach at Cincinnati, he likened it somewhat to Iraq or Iran or something like that, which didn't go over really well. But man, you got to think hard about that thing, about Texas Tech. Not against them or anything, but that's a special kind of person that loves the Red Raiders, I'm telling you. Well, let's take a break. We are live every weekday morning, 7 to 9. We appreciate those of you who watch us live. We really appreciate those of you who watch us live and say, man, I can't believe Warren said that. Let me go back and look again, or it happens with John all the time. Or, man, I want to see that guest again. We really appreciate those of you who watch us live. Also, check us out again on repeat and hit that like button and hit that subscribe button. It helps us grow. It's Longshore and McKnight in association with Yellowhammer News, presented by Bud Light.
Known by avid golfers as one of the most beautiful and challenging stops on the Robert Trent Jones Golf Trail, Cambrian Ridge in Greenville lies just 40 miles from Montgomery. It is well worth the ride for any golfer looking for 27 holes of jaw-dropping golf. The greens have been redesigned to accommodate the higher green speeds associated with their installation of the latest generation of ultra-dwarf Bermuda grass. Cambrian Ridge offers a fully stocked pro shop with all the latest equipment and apparel. Great food and beverages in the clubhouse can be enjoyed both before and after your round. Get your group together and hit the trail. Go to rtjgolf.com/Cambrian Ridge for tee times and more information. Phoenix Physical Therapy is ready to help patients recover, recharge, and rise. They develop a customized therapy plan for each patient to get them back to enjoying their favorite activities. Their experienced team is committed to providing exceptional care in a professional environment. Whether you're looking to prevent or treat an injury, recover from a recent illness, or recuperate from surgery, schedule an appointment with one of their clinics and take advantage of physical therapy, athletic training, workers' comp, and employer solution services. Get back in the game, get back to work, and get back to life with Phoenix Physical Therapy. To find a location near you and to schedule an appointment, go to phoenixphysicaltherapy.com. That's phoenixphysicaltherapy.com. Hey, you want your property looking its very best this spring and summer, and River Region Straw has premium long needle pine straw to make that property pop. You're not buying sticks, stems, or pine cones. You're buying premium long needle pine straw from River Region Straw. Kenny and his staff have access to the best pine straw in the region, full of color that will last all season long. And now River Region Straw has a fourth location in Chelsea on Highway 280 to go along with their locations here in Montgomery, Prattville, and Auburn. No order is too big or too small, from a few bales to an 18-wheeler trailer load. To get your River Region Straw, drop by any of their 4 locations or give Kenny a call or text today, 669-5959. That's 669-5959, and have the best looking property this spring and summer with straw from River Region Straw.
All right, now there's a couple of things that we feel compelled we have to point out. So let's go through the litany here. Yes, I am in Omaha, Nebraska. Been here since Wednesday with Troy Baseball, who won their first College World Series game yesterday over Ole Miss, eliminating the Rebels, 12-8 the final score. Troy plays again tomorrow at 1 o'clock in another elimination game against West Virginia. No, that's not John Longshore. He didn't get handsomer and smarter overnight or over the weekend. That's Warren Matthews. John is out all week. All right, those are two things on my list. Oh, also, Gurn Jr. working hard. Not sure that we're going to have the topic wheel coming up, which is fine. We love it. He does a lot of work on it every day. But if he's able to bring it up, that's fine. If not, that is absolutely no problem. And I don't know about you, Warren. I guess I've got to ask you this straight out. Have you been worn out by texts from Longshore basically begging you and begging me to please point out the Phantom's daily dog record in the NBA Finals? I almost had to put him on, silence notifications. I know. Warren, it's the Phantom has been killing it.
It's bad. Your phone starts dinging in the middle of the night. You worry something bad has happened to somebody. Then you realize it's John promoting his, Phantom. He went on that. He is definitely on a heater. And Barry, he did send me a text last night he's got the Daily Dog will be appearing. He's asked me to announce the Daily Dog today.
Oh, okay.
I'm not going to say what it is. We're going to tease that a little bit after the next break.
Okay.
But we are definitely going to have the Daily Dog come up, and I'll just say it might just be a little different than usual. Well, I'm just going to have to say.
Here's the deal. The Phantom in the NBA Finals hit the Daily Dog a lot. The Phantom was 5-0 in the Daily Dog ATS in the NBA Finals. I don't know what you get. John, we'll text about show topics or about, hey, remember to bring this or whatever show items. But sometimes I'll get a text from John. It'll be about 11 o'clock at night, and it'll go, boom. And you're like, boom, what is that? And it's either one of two things. Either the Daily Dog paid off or something happened with Auburn. Sometimes I need a little more details. And, it's 11 o'clock at night. And my wife is sleeping beside me. And I'll be like, what's up? And he'll say, PM does it again or something. Evidently, Philip Marshall has posted something he wants me to read at 11 o'clock at night. Or in this particular case, understand, Warren, that over the last week, well, like, for instance, yesterday, we get out, get done with the broadcast, pack up, get on the team bus, which is packed and rocking, get back to the hotel and, get into the lobby, and the lobby's rocking and everything. Finally get up to my room, get ready to go to dinner, and I look at my phone, and I have 179 text messages. And it took until this morning for me to answer them all and, all this stuff on social media. And so I'm working through my text messages. Barry, so great to be a Trojan. Barry, great job on the broadcast. Barry, I can't believe it. We're coming up on Tuesday for the game, blah, 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 and all this kind of stuff. And then, hey, don't forget, Phantom 5-0 ATS on the day. How am I supposed to sift through all of those and get to John's? And I get a lot of texts all the time, and it'd be something like, he'll say something like, it's like charity, it never faileth, or something like that. Ooh, check. I got this. Dee and I went to the Alabama-Oklahoma baseball game up here in the College World Series. Oklahoma wins at 9-0. Alabama looked awful in that game. And a little bit later on, I get a text from John. It says, message board blowing up. And I know what that is. That means go to TiderInsider.com. They're not real happy with Rob Vaughn and all that kind of stuff. So I get a lot from him anyway. Most of the time, they're cryptic. They're like, boom, or uh-oh, or something like that. When it's uh-oh, that means something happened to Auburn. So you have
what I don't want him to learn, Barry, is how to make, those people who can make the text kind of come alive, the wording.
Oh yeah, with like confetti or something.
Yeah, I don't want him to learn that because he would wear that out. He would abuse that feature of text emoji slash whatever it is.
Yeah, I don't love those texts that have like the balloons coming up or the confetti raining down or all that. That's a little off-putting. That's like, read my text before everybody else's. Me first, me first, me first. But I remember the week when I finally realized, and it wasn't that long ago, that John had discovered emojis. John, two things about, number one, he's a little bit slow to technology. And I am being extremely kind about that. A little bit slow to technology.
I wouldn't know anything about that. I don't hear anybody in my family mentioning that to me at all. So that's anyway.
Yeah,
so.
That was for effect, by the way, for those people who don't know the nuance of that. But when we're on location, like at Stivers, at either one of the locations, and John will get a jillion texts from his buddies about, oh yeah, Barry said that about Alabama. Will you tell him this and everything? And John's texting them back. Sometimes it's while we're on the air. Sometimes it's during a break. It is excruciating for me to watch him text because he's the worst typist. And he's sitting there going, da, 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 T, H, E, space, A-U-B-S.
There are prompts, John.
Like,
there are prompts. There are word prompts on your
I know.
Your text.
That's the most basic thing ever. And I'm saying, you don't have to spell it all out. Okay. And then the week I'm talking about was the week whenever I finally realized that John has discovered emojis. Usually it's that little bag of cash, or usually it's that emoji of that stack of bills with wings on it, flying away or something like that. Or it's the hourglass, like let's go while we're young or all that. I'm thinking, oh my God.
Hey, it's coming. Gifts are coming.
Yeah.
Gifts are coming.
Yeah.
He's going to find the things that everybody else sends and all that. So.
And everybody always uses, 90% of the time people are using the same GIF. John he'll discover that GIF of that
Wolf of Wall Street with what's his name?
Holding up the champagne glass.
Yeah.
Or, that little chunky kid throwing a fit, mad at something or, something like that. That's coming because when that comes, and that's worse than the emojis, because with the emojis, at least he feels the urge the necessity that he's got to type out a message with the emoji. But when that comes, when he realizes he can just send a GIF and then make me guess what that's all about, that's going to be rough.
Barry, you may not have experienced this, but I have with him, and not to be down on it, not to give him shit, but we are. He's a 3-dot specialist. He'll send a little something and then the 3 dots appear. And he's thinking and he's trying to come up with something, and he'll 3-dot it for 5 to 10 minutes.
And you're looking at it thinking,
it's like, okay, here it comes. I've got to wait. I'm going to wait. It's coming. So I can respond.
And
I need to go back to whatever I'm doing, but I'm going to be generous and, wait on the 3 dots.
And it's either one of two things. Somewhere at that very same moment, somewhere in the world, John's going, where's the question mark? Where's the question mark on this?
How do I get the screen back? How do I get the keyboard back up?
Yeah. Or number two, he's just he just set his phone down with the cursor in the little message thing, and he's gone off and done something else, and he's just forgotten about it.
Bathroom break.
So, yeah. It's not easy. But he has texted Warren. He has texted me. And, he's also one of the guys that will give you like 3 texts in a row when one would be enough. Those obs. Can't believe they can't cover. Should have learned my lesson. It's like 3 texts right after each other and all that. And they keep coming. But also, the texts where this is what happened. This is what I got yesterday among my, 150 texts I had to answer. Phantom 5-0 ATS NBA Finals cash bag emoji. Immediately under that, might be worth a mention on the show Monday.
Well, he got his mention. He got more than a mention. He's got almost a partial segment.
Yeah, so he should be happy. And it's not even the segment where we give out the Phantom's Daily Dog. So that's coming up in just a moment. So
hey, Barry, before we go to break, I've got to mention something because this is something I think he and I would have talked about. It's very special. So on the PGA Tour this week, they were at the Canadian Open,
right?
And it's just one of those crazy things and sad but happy. Bud Cauley won. Bud Cauley is a 36-year-old from Florida, but went to Alabama.
Yeah.
He's not much of a drink of water, and he's like 5'6" or 5'8", 150 pounds.
Right.
Okay. 8 years ago, after missing the cut at the Memorial, he was in a horrific car accident. I mean, horrific. I mean, fractured leg, punctured lung, ribs broken. I mean, he was messed up. And it took him a couple of years just to get a little bit right. And he played off some exemptions and he kind of hung around and then just kind of was off. And then in 24, he kind of made a little comeback. But this year he's had some good starts. And the fact he's now at 36, which is old for a first-time winner.
Right, yeah.
But it's life-altering for him. And from all accounts of people I know who know him, they say he's a great guy.
I've heard that.
And are happy for him. And I just he's just one of those guys that I'm so excited. It's like good things happen to good people when bad things have happened to good people.
Yes.
So he won and he gets, I think, I don't think he was already in the U.S. Open, but I think he gets in the U.S. Open.
Yeah,
I know he gets the obviously exemption for at least 2 years and gets to go to the Masters and everything else that goes along with winning a PGA tournament. So Bud Cauley's the good old Alabama graduate, but good guy, and it's nice to see for him.
Awesome. That's an awesome story. Sometimes it's the perseverance, that proves to be that is a great story. We'll take a break. When we come back, more to come, including the Phantom's Daily Dog. It's Longshore and McKnight in association with Yellowhammer News, presented by Bud Light.
All guests of Longshore McKnight appear on the City of Montgomery guest hotline. Check out the most interesting and informed personalities in sports covering Auburn, Alabama, Troy, ASU, and all the major teams from across the country. John and Barry have the best guests brought to you by the City of Montgomery. To find out everything you need to know that is going on in the capital city, check out montgomeryal.gov. That's montgomeryal.gov, the capital of dreams.
Hey, where's the beer guy? Bud Light here? You get a Bud Light? Bud Light? I'm here, Bud Light. Bud Light here? Bud Light here? Bud Light here? Bud Light where? Bud Light here? Oh, Bud Light there. I missed that because of you. You did not miss that play because of me. Tough to stop talking this way? Yeah. It's actually kind of fun.
Hey, I got your Bud Light.
Oh, nice. Never mind. Anything for the clean, crisp taste of Bud Light.
What'd I miss?
I have no idea.
Pravel Carpet is the most trusted name in flooring in the River region. Ray Bowles and his staff have an extensive line of Mohawk, stain-resistant carpeting in all the latest styles and colors. Pravel Carpet also has hardwood, vinyl, and ceramic tile for all of your flooring needs. Professionally installed at the absolute lowest prices. Take advantage of cash and carry vinyl plank at just $239 a foot. Call them today to set up your free measurement for your home, office, lake house, hunting camp, or wherever you need flooring. 285-8117. That's 285-8117, or drop by 2201 Cobbs Ford Road in Prattville for Prattville Carpet.
Well, it looks like we've lost Barry. He's lost his connection. Looks like we're going solo. So what we'll do right now is go on the fly and go into the Phantom's Daily Dog. John is on a mission trip this week out of the country, and so we get these texts in the middle of the night. There we are. Barry's back.
Yep. Sorry about that.
No, that's
wasn't long enough.
Hey, that's okay, Barry, because the sheer terror of going solo and seeing yourself Even if we don't have video, we still got Barry here.
Yeah,
We're still here. There we go.
I'm here.
But I was going into the middle of the night text I got from John on his mission trip out of the country, and he has sent me the daily dog, and it's a first in the history of the Phantom. It's the first Phantom pick for the World Cup.
What? There's no way.
There's a
I
World
thought you were
Cup,
headed that way.
World Cup, and we're going to one that's got a favorite, one of the favorites in the World Cup, with an underdog. That's an interesting underdog. Today, he has picked the Spain Cape Verde game that's going to be on at 11 o'clock a.m.
in Atlanta.
On Fox. I don't know if he has any family members going there. He said they had some family members going to some of the games, but today he's going to take, believe it or not, Cape Verde, which I believe is where is Cape Verde?
It is in Africa.
It's an African country?
Yeah.
I think it is.
It is in Africa.
And so I ask you that, Barry, because I know you know, but I have a feeling I really wish he'd have been on instead of you, because I know we'd have gotten that blank stare. You know, like, hold on. And then you see him do the fingers on the phone. Or
right.
It is like Verde.
Yeah.
How do you, I've had a sauce, Verde sauce.
You get that at Rodeo down in Troy or Los Hermanos. You get the Verde sauce. It is an island country in just off the coast of Senegal in Western Africa in the Atlantic Ocean. I mean, they got fewer people in Cabo Verde than they've got in Montgomery County.
All right,
but yet so they've got a World Cup team.
The spread is they're getting Cape Verde's plus two goals, and that's we're going with the goal line, not the money line.
I don't even know how to bet on soccer except you bet the under.
It's about as simple as it can get. We're gonna bet on it, and he says he gives it a 3 or 5 star. Now I don't know what that means, but the Phantom's going with Cape Verde. He says Island Nation, all they have to do is play soccer.
Yeah.
And Spain, they're overrated. They've got the big head.
Yeah.
So anyway,
Augsburger says, terrible pick. Spain is a strong team. Look, he's not saying that Spain won't win.
No. We believe, but what I believe is going to happen is it's going to be 3-0, and then in the last minute they're going to sub out to give some Spaniards some experience, and that 16-year-old on the back line is going to give up a goal to Cape Verde. It's going to win the bet.
Plausible.
At 3-1.
Yeah, absolutely plausible. Some of those Spanish guys, they're over in Atlanta, they've been to Cheetah 3, maybe they're not feeling great or whatever. You play some of the second line guys, it's early in the knockout round where it's not going to kill you. They're out there just getting the kinks out, working up a sweat.
So
I see that.
So Barry, here, I'm going to make an SEC analogy, an SEC, maybe a Big Ten analogy.
Right.
If a Big Ten team came to play an SEC team in September, you've got Spain. They're a European team, moderate temps. You've got Cape Verde. They're used to Africa hot.
Yes.
Hot.
Which is a great, what was the movie?
It's going to be hot as hell. Were you out? You were not outside down here this weekend. It was so hot in the Wiregrass area, our area, middle of the state. It was so freaking hot. You walk outside and you just, it should be August.
Yeah.
We had all the pop-up storms too.
Because of the heat. That's right. Matthew Broderick in Biloxi Blues.
That's right. Cape Verde, they're used to Africa hot. So there you go. How about that?
If the Phantom's not an idiot, he's not picking Cabo Verde to beat Spain outright.
No. We're not.
They can if they want to.
We're just going against the spread.
Yeah, I like it. I like it. There you go. I never thought I would live to see the day. Number one, the Phantom picking soccer in any form as the daily dog. And number two, the Phantom is advising everybody to really root for Cabo Verde when I promise you, 2 weeks ago, the Phantom had never even heard of Cabo Verde, and much less be able to find it on a map or anything. So there we go. Okay.
He said, no, that's not true, Barry. That's the one thing you don't know. They have a Ritz-Carlton there. And I think he's looked at going at some point.
Who would go vacation?
Well, I'm just saying they have a Ritz-Carlton. That's why he would know about it. That's the only reason.
But I'm just saying there's some investors. There's some equity fund or, some mutual fund guys who are saying, you know what I think we ought to advise our clients? Let's put a Ritz-Carlton in a small island country 300 miles off the Africa coast in a place that only has about 300,000 people. That'd be cool, wouldn't it? Wouldn't it be great? Who does that? Who puts a Ritz-Carlton in Cabo Verde? That's like putting a Ritz-Carlton on Okaloosa Island or something. It doesn't make any sense. So there you go. That is the Phantom's daily dog here today. A lot of good stuff here on the chat line. We appreciate that. We will be hitting the chat line hard, with for content. Ted Nugent, that's our buddy. I'm sorry. This is Dr. B, who's the Bama Eye Doc. He says, Barry, Mrs. Bama Eye Doc and I are so pumped for you and the Trojan Nation. We were high-fiving during the game yesterday, and tomorrow's show is going to be awesome. Soak it up, brother. Yeah, tomorrow I'm going to be hustling, do the show until 9, of course. Got to be at, Charles Schwab Field at 10. So I'm going to be
we may do the wheel. We may start the wheel a little early and get Percy out of there a little soon to get Barry over to
get me out of here, Percy. Yeah. Because, people say, well, the game doesn't start for 3 hours. Yeah, but I got a ton of stuff to do. You got to interview the coach and all of that. Our buddy Joe Judkins again says, Barry, what kind of figure can you put on the exposure that Troy is getting during this World Series run? Tens of millions of dollars. I remember part of my work with Troy. I'm the play-by-play voice for football, men's basketball, little women's basketball, baseball, women's soccer, women's volleyball, and all that. So I'm busy. But a lot of my work has to do with Troy University as well, with the university. I've told the story before. If you call the main switchboard line at Troy University and you get put on hold, you're going to hear my voice. Hey, don't Barry, forget to join us for the Impact. It comes up in June, whatever.
Hey, Barry, stuff like that. This morning, I drive in and I'm an NPR. I'm a loyal NPR listener. And I heard Barry McKnight talk about the Who About You gallery on Troy's campus. In that voice you're hearing right now, I don't know who About You is, but I hear it every day. And it's either Barry or somebody. There's two people who have to do that commercial, but you are the voice of Troy Public Radio as well.
Yes, exactly. I do a lot of stuff with them. I have that, but one of the other things I do is, I do a research podcast for Troy University's Office of Sponsored Programs. I do a lot of stuff for the university itself. And one of my supervisors in that context is a lady named Leslie Scrushy, and she was on the field with me after the Super Regional. Everybody was celebrating. She's a wonderful lady, really good at her job. And I asked her, I said, can you put, she's with public relations and outreach and all that. Can you put a dollar figure on the exposure that Troy got? Because the Super Regional wasn't just an absolute showcase. 7,000 fans, the crowd out and left, the stands out and left, the packed grandstand and everything. Troy played so well and all that. And she said, tens of millions of dollars. If we had to spend the same amount of money for the exposure that we're getting just out of our pocket. It'd be tens of millions of dollars just for that. And now here we are at the College World Series. The last 2 games have been on ESPN, and Troy has played well in both of those games. It's an energetic team that has a lot of fun, with a very active and demonstrative head coach who plays well on TV. It's millions and millions of dollars, Joe. And now the nature of it is Troy is kind of the Cinderella story. It's as big of a story as there is in the College World Series right now anyway, and it's Troy University. It's great. Bama iDoc says, what's the status of Troy's center fielder? Not going to lie, I was sort of aggravated that the coach didn't sub him out when it was obvious he was hurt and he couldn't run. Yeah, that's Stephen Meyer. He's a senior from Kennewick, Washington. Great player. And he tweaked his leg leaping for a deep drive to center field, caught it, but he landed a bit funny and, walked it off out there, and he kept going, went into the dugout during the half inning, came back out, and there was a little bloop into center field that he just couldn't get to, and he waved everybody over, and they helped him off the field at that point. I don't know what the status is. I did see him on the bus. He had ice on his knee, and he was getting around okay. But, you never know with stuff like that. He's a tough kid, and boy, you hate it for him because you never want to come out of a game like that. But yeah, I don't know what that is.
Next man up. Next man up.
Yeah.
What you got?
Yeah, and it's funny because you close the game out with Drew Nelson, who's an Auburn transfer. He pitched in Auburn for 2 years. He's from Troy. And this year he's been a position player. He's pitched a little bit. And he had not played center field in college ever. And he finished up the game as the center fielder for Troy just because he's athletic and he's, winning mentality and knows what he's doing. So
my guess is he's a Pike Lib.
He is. He's a Pike Lib kid.
I promise you, he probably didn't play outfield at Pike Lib. He probably was utility infielder, pitcher, whatever it was.
Yes.
Yeah. So
Great.
But he's athletic. He can,
he made a put out there in deep center field. He knows what he's doing. He's just a ball player. There are guys out there, and Troy's got several of them. Aaron Piasecki, Nelson. So they just play. They can play anywhere. Finally, this from John from Wetumpka, very nice. He said, a little late today, but Barry, your calls of the game were epic. I can sync you with a TV, and it's great. Congratulations, Trojans. That's very kind. I appreciate you saying that. Also, this from John from Wetumpka. Barry, real question. Does Troy have, he means to say superior, Barry, does Troy have a superior athletic program than Auburn? Gosh, they say comparison's the thief of joy. I know that you can take maybe the last 4 years of Troy's athletic budget year by year and combine all 4 years of Troy's athletic budget, and it will not be equal to Auburn's athletic budget this past year. Auburn's got a lot more resources. It's a bigger school. They play in a fantastic league. I'm not going to compare. All I'll say is this, is Troy has done as good a job as Auburn or anybody, not just Auburn, Alabama, anybody you can think of. Troy has done as good a job of anybody in the country as an athletic department in utilizing all of their resources to the maximum effect. Obviously, Troy does not have a huge athletic budget. Obviously, Troy is not a huge school. It's the smallest school playing in the College World Series by far. But I don't know of anybody who gets more bang for their buck out of the resources that they do have than Troy Athletics. I honestly don't.
Barry, the elephant in the room is this. You can say what you want to, is that Troy isn't firing coaches. Troy is replacing coaches. I mean, the reason is, you look at all three, all the sports, and if somebody has success, you lose them to somebody who's going to get paid more. And you can't begrudge them. I mean, that's just the nature. No. You wish them well, you thank them for their service, and you go out and hopefully find the next person. And I say what Troy has done extremely well is identify good coaching talent. And that's hard. I mean, that's really hard because you're either going to get somebody on the way up or somebody on the way down. And you got to make sure the on the way up is the right guy. And if they don't have head coaching experience, that may or may not work out. What I liken it to is you look at, Jack State went a different direction with Rich Rod. They went a guy who I consider is on the way down, even though he's back at West Virginia. But, he basically, and he had some success, but it was not good. I mean, he is a bad fit for that school. You got to have the right fit.
Well, just think about it. And all of these guys are friends of mine. I have to work with them closely. Whenever I got started, and it was for 10 years, there was no coaching change at all in the three big sports that I broadcast: Larry Blakeney and Don Maestri and Bobby Pierce. Wonderful coaches, Mark Smart, so many of the other ones down there through the years. But you look at some of the coaches that Troy has had that I've worked with just over the last 5-6 years. Neil Brown, who's really changed everything at Troy, and of course John Sumrall, who I got a chance to visit with at length, when we were down there in the Gainesville Regional. He is helping now to fundraise a $1 billion stadium renovation for the football stadium at Florida. He's going to win big down there. Scott Cross, who won back-to-back Sun Belt basketball championships, now the head coach at Georgia Tech. And, Skylar Meade is as good as any of them. And he has really brought energy to the Troy fans because he's so demonstrative and so fun-loving. Troy has done a great job. You're exactly right, and I wish I had put it that well. It's not necessarily the resources, although Troy has good resources. It's not even the facilities, and I do believe comprehensively that Troy has the best facilities in the Sun Belt Conference. If you've never been to the Vet for football or Riddle Pace for baseball or Trojan Arena for basketball, those are legitimate big-time facilities. But you're right, it's the people that Troy has hired as coaches, some up-and-comers, usually lately, with the exception of Coach Cross in basketball, it's been a Power 4 assistant who was ready for the move up. Skylar Meade was that way. Sumrall was that way. Neil Brown was that way. And, you go on down the line. Adam Howard, the new basketball coach at Troy, who I'm a big believer in, is that way. But you also had Coach Cross, who had won big at Texas Arlington. It's just more than anything else, and people can talk about facilities, and it's certainly NIL is big. You got to have players, but more than anything else, for continued success, you got to have the right coaches, and that's what Troy has done as well as anybody.
Quick question on that, Barry. I think, to me, Neil Brown to West Virginia was a mistake. I just think it was a bad decision on his part because it's West Virginia. Okay. I mean, it's the resources and everything else. I personally think he will do well at North Texas.
Yeah, I do too.
And I can see him in a Power 4, in a Big 4 role at some point in the future.
He's so good. And the thing about it, of course, been exposed to West Virginia fans. Troy plays West Virginia tomorrow. They played them on Friday. A lot of fans out there. The problem with West Virginia is that they think they're better than they really are. And I mean, that's just the truth. And they've got to get used to that. And it's difficult because they want national championships with Neil Brown or whomever. And it's just not that kind of a program. Let's take a break right here. We'll be back to wrap it up in just a moment. Our Monday show of Longshore and McKnight in association with Yellowhammer News, presented by Bud Light.
Why Hands? At Hands Heating and Air, you get this area's highest ranked service provider with 24-hour repair service, no overtime charges, and their same-day service guarantee. Plus, instead of other companies' 30-day repair warranty, Hands gives you a 3-year repair warranty. Hands Heating and Air is here for you 24/7, 365. And service is not just something they do, it's their way of operating, for you in mind. All of Hands employees are trained to adhere to this standard. They work hard to ensure that this standard is maintained, and they are constantly looking for new ways to better serve you. Call Hands Heating and Air today at 508-5382. That's 508-5382, or find them on the web at 834hands.com.
In sports, if you think joy only happens after you win, think again. Look at the world's most successful athletes like Serena Williams, Brooks Koepka, and Alex Morgan. They don't spend all their days grinding away. They take time to enjoy themselves, like getting together with friends over a Michelob Ultra, because they know that happiness is the key to winning, and that joy is the whole game, not just the end game. Michelob Ultra. 95 calories, 2.6 grams of carbs. It's only worth it if you enjoy it. Enjoy responsibly. AB Michelob Ultra Light Beer, St. Louis, Missouri.
Prattville Carpet is the most trusted name in flooring in the River region. Ray Bowles and his staff have an extensive line of Mohawk, stain-resistant carpeting in all the latest styles and colors. Prattville Carpet also has hardwood, vinyl, and ceramic tile for all of your flooring needs. Professionally installed at the absolute lowest prices. Take advantage of cash and carry vinyl plank at just $239 a foot. Call them today to set up your free measurement for your home, office, lake house, hunting camp, or wherever you need flooring. 285-8117. That's 285-8117, or drop by 2201 Cobbs Ford Road in Prattville for Prattville Carpet.
All right, man, grab a Budweiser and take a knee. It is the best time of the year. It's baseball season. That means sunshine. It means behind-the-back peanut tosses. And it means sharing some cold, frosty Budweisers with your boys. Because there's nothing more American than watching America's game with America's beer. So let me ask you something. Are you ready to bring your A game? Are you ready to cheer every frozen rope down the line and amazing catch at the warning track? Are you ready for pitchers' duels and slugfests? Tell me, are you ready for the thrill of an incredible walk-off victory? I can't hear you. Are you ready for Budweiser and baseball? Then get on your feet, raise an ice-cold Bud, and let's make this season larger than life. Great times are waiting. Grab some Buds!
Enjoy responsibly. Budweiser Beer, Anheuser-Busch, St. Louis, Missouri.
Don't miss your chance to win big at Victoryland Casino. Play the latest, hottest, most exciting games around with fun bonuses and big jackpots. Don't miss out on your free play. Stop by Player Rewards today and check out this month's exciting free play promotions. Come see why our players keep coming back. You'll have more fun at Victoryland Casino, where you can be a winner too. Victoryland Casino, located off I-85 exit 22, Shorter, Alabama. Must be 21 or older.
Back again for the final segment here. Just a moment or two. Robbie from Greenville on the chat line. He says, rough weekend for the Braves. They need to get healthy. Acuna and Strider were injured on the road trip, which ended 1-4. We still lead the Phillies by 8 games in the National League East.
Hey, Barry, we'll just I'll get Gurn Jr. to cut a piece from a prior episode, and we'll just cut a negative comment from John and add it in for the podcast. How about that? Insert Braves comment right here.
Yeah, right click, save file as Longshore's standard Brave response, and then something about Bobby Cox or something about dude with vertigo. He'll go a little Pascual Perez getting lost on 285.
Have you been to Truist?
I have not.
I haven't either. And it's on my list. I'd like to do it this summer because everybody that goes raves about the experience. That it's a good time.
Turner Field was always so great because living in.
Man, you just pop right up.
It's that side of Atlanta. You barely even get into Atlanta.
You get an hour when you're in Auburn. You go up there and you get an hour coming back, and it takes you like 45 minutes or something.
It's outstanding, but no longer because I was on the extreme other side of Atlanta. I still go to Turner Field because Georgia State University, which is in the Sun Belt Conference, bought that facility, and they've made it into their football stadium.
Do they keep it up? It has to be hard to keep up.
It is. It's got to be because the upper deck at Turner Field, they don't use it. It's they got tarps up there, but they've changed the field around and everything. And now they built a baseball stadium right next to where the parking lot for Turner Field was for Georgia State to play baseball and all that. So there's all that. So I get to go there every once in a while for for Georgia State sports. But I want to go to Truist Park someday, but it's not one of those you can bebop up. It's not a day trip anymore.
No, it's a weekend. You stay at one of those hotels, walk over. Barry, I could go to my shoebox and pull out my autograph from the greatest Atlanta Braves personality of all time.
Dale Murphy?
Chief Nakahoma.
You got an autograph from Chief Nakahoma? I
got an autograph from Chief Nakahoma.
All right. Now you got my one autograph story. Growing up in Central Florida on the Atlantic coast, we lived about 15, 20 miles north of Vero Beach when I was a kid, which is where the Dodgers were Dodger Town, spring training. And one time, and I used to go all the time, one time in spring training, the Dodgers had an exhibition game against the Yomiuri Giants. From Japan, from what they call the Central League.
Not Sadahiro O.
I got Sadaharu O's autograph.
No, you did not.
Nobody believes me because you know what it is? It's a couple of Japanese characters. Everybody said, you did that yourself. No, that says Sadaharu O.
That's that's like getting Hank Aaron or Babe Ruth. In certain countries, that's as big as that.
No kidding, but nobody believes it unless you're Japanese. Maybe I could sell it on eBay in Japan or something, but no, everybody's like, you did that. That looks like you were 12 years old and did it, which, I mean, it was 12 years old at the time. I got one of the greatest autographs ever, but nobody believes it.
All right, what was the lefty for the Dodgers? Jerry Royer or something like
that?
Jerry Royce?
Jerry Royce.
I don't know if he's still alive, but if he is, I hope he rots in hell because I asked him for an autograph and he turned me down.
When I was a kid, I never got turned down for an autograph. I got Don Sutton. We actually had Don Sutton on the show one time afterwards, and I talked about that. They were all very gracious. Well, that's our show for this week. We'll be back tomorrow. And of course, tomorrow means Brian Matthews, auburnsports.com, Travis Ryer from Ryer on YouTube. And I'll spend the day working and trying to get some guests for the week. John is gone all week long. Many thanks to Warren Matthews for joining us. For Warren and for our producer, Gurn Jr., I'm Barry McKnight. This is Longshore McKnight in association with Yellowhammer News, presented by Bud Light.